Guys, my name is Cassandra Guzman, and I'll be doing my presentation on France. One of the traditional dishes that I chose was, and pardon my French, I'm not really good at pronunciation, is l'entre à la rancia. All right, guys, before I continue, I'm just gonna go over, and I'll try to be really quickly over a few, little details about the French cuisine. Originally, the French dishes were acid. It wasn't until the 16th century where sugar was introduced. Another thing was that butter was considered a poor people fat food, and it wasn't until the arrival of Catherine de Medici, the wife of Louis XIV, King of France, that this changed. With her arrival, she brought a lot of her um, a lot of her cooks, and she was originally from Florence, Italy. So this really made a huge impact on the French cuisine. Not only to mention, with her arrival, people started using forks. Another thing is that uh, with this the like in between the 17th and the 18th century, I would say, it came the Enlightenment cuisine, which was basically French food stopped being considered like just food. It became kind of like an art form of what it is today. Um, with the revolution, a lot of things changed as well. Now, the dishes that were considered just for the royalty, it became accessible, to the commoners, I would say, with cookbooks being published, adaptations of those really expensive foods, just so people could cook in their own home. And with the Nouvelle Cuisine, I'm not really sure if I'm saying it right, just because I really have a thick accent. Um, this began in the 1960s. A lot of cooks and chefs argue that, the French cuisine had not changed after like the Second World War, and that it needed to be innovated. And dishes became, more flavorful, and the time for them that took them for them to cook shortened, just because dishes before that took hours to make, just with the sauces and everything. um, so yeah, so that's how the French cuisine came to be what we know of it today. The dish Luantra alla rancia literally translates to duck with orange. A lot of historians argue that it originated in Florence and was exported to France in 1529 with the arrival of Catherine de Medici. Like I said, she did introduce all these like citrus flavors, that were inspired by Italy. But other historians argue that this dish existed as far as the 14th century, in France, with a couple of like written recipes that they have found. Um, the Another thing with this dish is that it's considered very nutritious, just because duck meat is very nutritious. But besides that, it has high levels of protein, B vitamins, minerals, such as zinc, potassium, magnesium, and iron. The recipe, and the ingredients is actually divided into two parts. Um, for the first one is for the sauce. It contains one fourth of a cup of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of cherry vinegar, one and a half cups of orange juice, 2 tablespoons of shallow minced, 1.5 cups of chicken stock, a quarter cup of unsalted butter, cold, 2 tablespoons of orange zest, divided, 4 oranges. And for the second part is the duck. You need duck breast, just one, and then you can cut it in half because it's actually pretty big. Some sea salt and pepper. And like I mentioned before, sugar now is a really big thing in the French cuisine. And the butter, oh my goodness, it makes such a big difference. I've tasted um, this this dish, and it's so delicious. So it's actually pretty easy to make. First, you boil the sugar and water for several minutes. Then you start adding everything: the sherry vinegar, the orange juice, the shallots, the chicken stock, and then you add the butter. Of course, you shake the pan for over medium heat until the butter is like completely melted and like incorporated into the sauce. You also stir the oranges that you peeled, um, and then you leave it to cool down, and then that's when you get to the duck. And the duck, you basically just prepare it like chicken. You cut it in half, you dry it, you do a little cuts in the chicken so it really absorbs the sauce, and then you cook it over high heat on a skillet. And after it's ready, you add the sauce to it, and it tastes delicious.